Welcome to Core Women Live. Thank you for joining me. This is my opportunity to feature some very special guests where they talk about their goals, aspirations, challenges, resiliency, wisdom. Join me as I get the opportunity to talk to people about their journeys. Thank you. Welcome. Oh, we got the wrong layout. Oh, whoa. Still not. Oh, yep. You know what? This will work. This will work. So here we go.
Come this way so we can see the eagle.
There's always got to be some kind of a glitch. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to this Core Women Live. I'm so happy to have you with me today. And I'm happy to have Michelle Liles and Ranjan Ramchandani.
You got it.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with me, and welcome to the Core Women Live. I so appreciate you.
Thank you for having us. And we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. So let me give a bit of an introduction about you, Michelle, as well as you, Ranjan. So I'm going to lead right into this. So Michelle has merged her love of both publishing and wildlife photography in her new venture, the Wild Lens magazine. Receiving her MBA in 2008, Michelle published both Broker Agent Magazine and Southern Nevada Equestrian Magazine. After a trip to Africa in 2005 with a borrowed Canon camera and gear, she fell in love with the wildlife of our planet and attempted to immortalize their beauty photographically. That is so awesome, Michelle.
Thank you. No, it's a blessing to be able to see the beautiful wildlife of this world. And then how I met my colleague up there, Ranjan, Mr. Ramchandani. We met in Namibia probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. And I want to do a bit of an introduction with Ranjan as well. So Ranjan Ramchandani is a Singapore-based published photographer, author focusing on digital art, portraiture, street, landscape, and wildlife photography. Ranjan calls himself a lifelong student of photography who does not like being categorized in any one genre. He is a graduate of New York Institute of Photography and has honed his skills through photography expedition around the globe. Wow.
Yeah. I love traveling, yes.
Oh my goodness, that is so awesome. Wow, the adventures you both have been on must be amazing. So let's get right into this, Michelle, and let's talk a bit about your journey as a photographer.
Sure. Well, I started, I've always been interested, and I got a camera when I graduated from college, film, that thing called film that we don't use anymore. And, it requires time and resources sometimes to be able to go to the places you want to go. So later in life, like mid-2000s, I got back into it, and Canon had a program you could borrow equipment. So I went to East Africa. Ironically, Ranjan specializes in that area and gives tours in that area. It's just so abundant of wildlife. So immediately you kind of fall in love because there's lions and leopard and cheetah and elephants and rhino and all kinds of wildlife that you realize you're hooked. You're hooked.
Right. My goodness, that is so fantastic. So Ranjan, how did this develop for you?
For me, yes, I was given my first camera when I was 6 years old from my dad, and I started. I had my own dark room. I started developing my own film printing, and then in school I took it up as an extracurricular activity, and I started with landscapes. Started going to the streets where I grew up, and did a lot of street photography till I finally started going to these wildlife destinations. I was working for a Japanese firm which took me into Africa, and the first time in '94, which is when I first saw the wildlife, the wilderness there myself, and I've been going back ever since. Got it short, actually. Professionally, I've been photographing wildlife for over a decade, almost 15 years now. And so I moved from DSLRs. Now I'm, of course, with Olympus, which is a lightweight system. I love Africa. It's fantastic. It's my first love right now. I've been to practically, I would say, most of the countries there. wherever there's wilderness. As I say, wild belongs to the wilderness, and I love going there to photograph them there. And yes, I'm working on a book now,
Oh,
which it's going to be a first of its kind. I'm going to talk about it later if we have time. But
absolutely.
absolutely, yep, it should be out hopefully in time for Christmas. But other than
Oh,
that, the main objective was here to what we wanted, Michelle and I wanted to do was bring the wilderness to the Wild Lens magazine, and that's when we launched this contest, and we wanted to bring something different from what the usual contests have.
well, let's talk about it. Since you mentioned it, let's talk about the contest. But before we talk about the contest, I do want to talk about one thing. Let's talk about your magazine, Michelle, the magazine that you've created, The
Yes.
Wild Lens.
That's it. That's it. And actually,
Yeah,
And Ranjan is also a contributor to this magazine and an editor. So, yeah,
Yes.
this is
He's
so
fantastic.
exciting.
He's our Africa Asia editor, does a great job. And if you see behind me, this beautiful little, he's a Galapagos sea reptile. Am I saying that right, Ranjan? He's
the
a
marine iguana.
marine iguana.
Yep.
He's gorgeous. And so Ranjan has had quite a few of our covers, including there was a leopard mama and cub. So he has such a great vision with his photography. And we're going into our third year. What's so exciting is this third year, it's a quarterly, and I can tell you where you can find it and subscribe. But we're launching the third year with all the winners of our contest. And there's 6 categories. I'll let Ranjan tell you what the categories are.
Okay, let's
Yep,
roll into this.
We have the first category, which is mammals. We have reptiles. We have underwater. We have macro. We have landscapes, and we have birds. So the idea is that each category will have a winner, but there would be one overall winner who would be the wildlife photographer of the year, which would go for the grand prize, which we'll talk about also. We have amazing prizes. But
Sure.
yeah, so we've got prizes. We've got certificates and prizes for each and every category, and there would be, of course, the big prize, the big boy who will be, or the big lady who's going to win the main event.
That's right.
Believe me, it's a big win. It's a big win. I don't
It's a trip
see
to
any other contest giving that away.
Yeah, it's a trip to Africa, which I've never seen. So Ranjan and I we had a big conversation about entering contests. They're out there and they're wonderful. We just want to support photographers. It's only $10 an entry. I mean, it's not expensive, and just to handle our costs and that kind of thing. But we really encourage. We are so inspired. We get up every day, and so we've had entrants from 6 continents.
Ooh.
Countries like Australia. I had Israel. I've had Poland. Always a lot from India, which is great. Thank you to them, and Canada, and all over Europe, and of course the USA. So we're so excited just at the level of what's coming in and the diversity of images coming in, and there's still a lot of opportunities. So I'll let Ranjan tell you about the prizes. He procured a wonderful safari to East Africa. I'll let Ranjan tell you about that.
Amazing. Yes, please.
Yep, we have, in my opinion, probably one of the best, or one of the highest rated camps in the Masai Mara. It's the Mara Bush Camp. So we are going to be sending the winner there for 4 nights, fully paid safari from Nairobi to Masai Mara and back, including the safari, the meals, everything will be taken care of. Plus, the Wildlife magazine is putting up a part of the fare, which is, I think, $1,500 is what you're paying towards them, and this is for 2. So this is going to be for 2 people for the winner. So the winner can take somebody along with them, and it's worth a hell of a lot, believe me, because this camp is probably amongst one of the most expensive camps in the Mara.
That is amazing. What a prize. What an event. Truly an adventure.
Yeah.
So,
and we were so lucky that Mara Bush Camp and Sunbird Safaris agreed to do this for us. And of course, we thank them for it.
Yeah.
Much so. And then even, so that's the grand prize. Each winner in the 6 categories, there'll be 3 deep. So, grand, and then 2 runners up is going to receive, everyone loves gear. Gears for addictions.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
In any profession, gear is also
True,
always
I
awesome.
know. Habit. From B&H Photo, which is a very famous, they're out of Brooklyn, New York, probably one of the most famous in the world. Often friends from other countries like South Africa, Ranjan, they want you to bring gear when they see you. So you can bring it. And then, of course, we're having an exhibit. So it'll be 18 photos, 3 in each category, at the old Wrigley Building in Santa Cruz, California, which is an absolutely beautiful 300,000 square foot exhibit space that is full of art and culture and music, and it's just a beautiful space. So, and I want to quickly mention that those are being printed by Bay Photo Lab. It's also based in Santa Cruz, but ironically has become a worldwide printer.
Really?
Ranjan, it's so funny that for people all over the world, for large format, if you want to get, say, like an eagle up here to print and put on your wall or sell to a customer. So we're really excited about the whole thing. The contest is open through November 20th. They can submit, and that is on our website, which is thewildlensmagazine.com. So just the wildlensmagazine.com. And then they do a contest, and that has all of the rules. There aren't many rules. We just kind of ask, let's not get a lion in a cage. Let's get a lion out in the wilderness, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, I'm putting up some notes here. So for those people who are watching, there is a link here, thewildlensmagazine.com, that you can reach out to. So there's a lot here to talk about, because it's not just about the contest, although that's why we're here, part of why we're here. What is and maybe you can both kind of contribute to this, but what is your why as to what you do, why you do photography, why this is such a passion for you?
Go ahead, Ranjan, I'll let you start.
See, it's today the way the world is going, photography is an art. It's a medium. It's a way you can use it for conservation. For me, if I take a picture and if I show you a photograph, and if you can relate to it, or if you can tell me a story about it, not my story, but if you can create a story by just looking at the photograph, it would mean I've touched you in some way. And that's what my aim is. The idea is that if you see an image, you should say, yeah, this is what it's telling me, and this is how it should be. So basically, the idea is to take an image of something in the wild and leave it in the wild. So I that's what I like to do. I like to show people the wild through my lens rather than, say, caged or behind a fence. So that's what I like doing with it. Yeah.
I love that, because it really brings an awareness about the environment, about the animals, about what you can do, what you're seeing, and having them in their own environment is so amazing that you've had that experience and that you're bringing that experience to life for others.
Exactly. That's what we want to do. The idea is to leave them out there. If you want to see them, you should go there and see them. You shouldn't bring them to you.
Yeah. I mean, that is wonderful. I love your why. Now, Michelle, can you share your why?
When I got into it, I quickly discovered I really loved who was doing it, because they loved animals. They loved the technical profession of photography, which is challenging. And then I started to just meet people from all over the world. And I loved that unity on the planet, no matter what's going on. There's so much political conflict around the world. And frankly, in our own country here in the USA, it was positive, that brings us all together. I began to feel some of the wildlife I was photographing is quickly disappearing, which I'm sad about that. But I wanted a way to always immortalize those species, bring it to people. And there's a lot of people, and that's okay, who probably aren't going to go to Africa, but I wanted to bring that wildlife to them, to India, to some crazy places I've been, that they can see. And especially, I'm so excited when children, there's still a chance. David Attenborough has a great documentary on Netflix right now. He's 93, and he's been such a champion for our planet. And it's kind of his last words on, we're losing things very quickly, a lot of species, but he has hope. And I hope everyone will watch it, because there is hope. I mean, we are rapidly losing a lot of our species, but there's still a chance we could save some of them. And that's part of the reason I do this, is to bring it to everybody and show how important. I want everyone's kids, grandkids, nieces and nephews to see a lot of these species. It's very important to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love your why. I love that you've experienced this. And as a matter of fact, do you want to touch on how kind of your life changed because of it? I mean, just, how you've just really remodeled your life around photography.
Yeah, and we've had this conversation before
Yes.
after summer, so I appreciate it. I kind of realized that I needed to be out in the wild as much as I can. I mean, this year, I'm like a bit of a caged animal because I can't go anywhere. I know how animals feel, but I wanted to get out and do as much as I could. So at that point, I had rented out my home and just lived as simply as I could, so I could go as many places as I could, and that became a real priority for me. And to be, it becomes a bit of an addiction.
Right.
Photographers, I know Ranjan and I can relate to it. You start talking about what you want to see, what you want to photograph, and suddenly you'll put everything aside and go to Siberia, live in a hide in below freezing, and not see the cat, but at least you tried. And that I actually did that with one of our judges. We'll have to talk about our judges.
Yes, please.
Mr. Kurt Bertels, who's a South African guy, who's a very learned and has been many places in the world and has some of the best photos I've seen of cats, including one. There's a cat called a melanistic leopard that I have down in Kabini. Mr. Bertels arguably has some of the best photos in the world. So it's a black leopard, basically.
Okay.
So I was supposed to go this year, and obviously, we're in our times. So I'm hoping that cat's going to live long enough that I'll have the privilege of seeing him, let alone photograph.
And I think you touched on something really important here. Although we can't go to these places right now, and many people will never visit these areas, as you said, Ranjan, you were capturing these beautiful animals and this landscape that, as you are, Michelle, as well, that you're bringing it to people, because it's times like these that we need to be creative, that we need to see others' creations, what you've created. And that gets us through many times a lot of difficult challenges, so that we can continue that creativity, that we can see other people's creativity. That brings inspiration. So thank you. Thank you for doing what you do, for raising awareness, for bringing inspiration, for knowing your why and talking about your why, because truly all of this will impact others. You'd be amazed.
Well, thank you. I get up every morning, and the first thing I do, I look to see contest entries. And then I get on Instagram, and every single day, I'm so inspired by a photo or photos I'm seeing on there. And that provides me a lot of joy, because, you understand the time and resources it takes for people to go out and do this, and also the passion. And so it's true. And that's where the magazine as well. So people can subscribe to the magazine. We have an online version. The hard copy, hold on. Oh, there it is. Oh, Summer. Perfect.
There's one. Here's another.
That's so sweet.
Here's another.
Yeah.
Here's another.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, that's
I recognize that cover.
Oh, is that your cover? Is that your
That's my
picture?
cover. Yes, that's my cover.
John, that's
It's-
awesome. Gorgeous.
It's an old, beautiful lion. That lion has a lot of character. And this is a good time to sit at home. When you're at home doing the things we're doing at home, you can flip through the pages. So people can subscribe at thewildlandsmagazine.com. We welcome it. We have subscribers from all over the world. So we would love to get this into your hands.
Yes,
Actually,
absolutely. It is a gorgeous magazine. It is produced so well. The articles are beautiful. They have there's so much diversity in this one magazine. It's just lovely. It absolutely is. So please, I put the link on here, wildlensmagazine.com. Please go check it out. It's wonderful. So let's get into, as you were colleagues, let's talk about how you touched on that a little bit, how you came together and how you're both part of this.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I met Ranjan. We were on a tour with actually a tour company down in Namibia, which was the most beautiful place. And I'll let Ranjan elaborate. And I want to say something about Ranjan that is so cool about him. So he has a very severe back issues. So Ranjan just, does what he needs to do, has his back brace, and he photographs with Olympus, which is a lighter weight kit. And I've gotten a lot of people saying that that's inspired them because they think you've got to carry this 20, 30-pound rig. I mean, it's heavy.
Yeah.
So better ways to do it. And he was like one of the most energetic. We had, I just have to mention one night there's a water hole where we were having hyenas and elephants and rhino, and it's amazing. I mean, Ranjan outlasted us all. He was at this watering all night long.
Oh my gosh.
Images, along with some other, there's a group of 5 gentlemen from India. I mean, these guys were hardcore. So I was so inspired, and I as well got some of my best work there. I loved it. And Ranjan, I'll let you elaborate.
Namibia was an amazing trip. There was so much diversity in photography, right from wildlife to landscapes to the red mount, the sand dunes, which are the largest in the world.
Gorgeous.
To the desert reptiles, birds in the sea. It was an amazing trip. We got to know each other. We got to know the whole group. We just became very good friends. And when the Wild Lens magazine started, I started by sending her a few articles, and then she said, "Why do you come on board?" And it started from there. And we've been sending articles. I've been getting hold of some known photographers in this part of the world to contribute to the magazine. And while Michelle was talking about the contest, I would just like to put in one point is that we encourage, it's not only for professionals, even amateurs, because this is a good way to get noticed and even get published and get seen in the world. And who knows, apart from us, maybe somebody else notices you in our magazine, and you could start a career in this line after that.
Yeah, it's very true. We have one contributor. His name is Trikna Sharma. He's a college student. His work is unbelievable. So I feel like we're watching somebody who has a really big future, and that's what's so exciting about it.
There are so many things that are exciting about this. Not only are you serving as a resource for folks, you are putting out and producing such wonderful things where people are becoming more educated about, our wildlife, about landscape, about the diversity in this world, and they're engaging. And to bring community together in this way is so important. So thank you for sharing how this developed, how you started working together, because that is so phenomenal. Now, I do have to touch on something you said, Ranjan and Michelle, about being out there in these landscapes and these environments where, are you ever scared? Because it takes courage. Are you ever fearful about, you might be photographing wildlife and these big cats, about distance, spatial relation?
You gotta remember that the wildlife or the animals, the mammals or the reptiles, they're equally as scared of you as you are of them. True. So as long as you read up on them and you know their moods, their behaviors, you know your limits, there's nothing to be scared of. I've been flat out lying down with a cheetah 5 feet away from me. I've had wild dogs jump over me in South Africa. At the Zimanga Game Reserve, I've had them jumping over me and around me and photographing them, and they didn't harm me at all. So yeah, they're as scared of you as you're of them. So I'm not scared of them.
Right.
Michelle, what do you have to add to that?
I'm a lot more scared of the humans, that things going on right now that I am. But healthy respect, I think as Ranjan said, just to know their behaviors. In places like the Mara, they're so habituated. Let's see if I can do this right. This bear up there, so that's in Katmai, Alaska. The bears are so habituated to humans, but you always have to have like a healthy respect. And things do happen when people are maybe pushing the boundaries. And Ron and I are both very, the animals come first. That's why I like working with Ranjan. Some people, I've been in situations, they push it a little too far to get the photo. But I think both of us just really believe the animals come first, their environment, respecting them. And then with those parameters, if you can get the photo, and he's right, a lot of times they're running from us. So to be in situations where the animals are a bit more habituated, you're able to, as a photographer, then maybe get a photo rather than the back end of a cat, you know, which does happen. And Summer, would it be all right? May I talk about a couple of the judges for our contest?
Oh, absolutely. But I do want to touch on right before, because I think it's really important as human beings, if we go into anything, make sure you do your research, make sure you're respecting the environment that you're in, and that you also are aware of behavior, patterns of behavior, as Michelle and Ranjan said. It is so important because you're keeping those animals safe as well as yourself at that point. So Vincent D. Tucker said, I've always wanted to try my hand in photography. Well, you know, that's a comment we got. Well, you should, Vincent. You absolutely should. And we're going to get to the words of wisdom later on. But absolutely, please, Michelle, touch on some of the judges, because this is fascinating.
Yeah, the conversation we were having, because I like to work with people who have a really ethical perspective. And Ranjan and I both share that. We're both judges, by the way. So we're 2 of 6. And I'd like to talk about 2, and then I'll let Ranjan talk about 2. So the gentleman who gave me kind of my start in photography, his name is Roy Toft. I met him in East Africa, 15 years ago, which is kind of when I got really serious. And we were on a tour, and he was kind of assisting the tour. And he's just an incredible photographer. He goes all over the world, places like Southern Africa. I actually went into Katmai, Alaska with him, Japan, all over the world. And he has such a knack for what I think his strength and specialty is: animals and the environment, of really capturing how beautiful the animal is, but also the environment. And he's a published author and has a fantastic eye. So we're very lucky to have him. Then the second judge I'd like to mention is Kurt Bertels. He's interesting. He's a South African and was in the parks for years, and met his wife, Stephanie, who's Cyprian, on a tour. And now he lives in Cyprus and does what he can there. You know, he's in Cyprus, he can't leave. So he's doing sea turtles and he, again, has some incredible photos. He's gotten that cat, we call him Blackie. That's that melanistic leopard down in Kabini, park in India. He and I went on a trip with some others to Siberia to try to photograph the Amur leopard. And as some things in wildlife, that doesn't mean you're not successful. We didn't photograph the cat that time, but we'll definitely go back. And he's a great instructor in the field, very good technical skills. And he himself has won a ton of contests. And he was actually the South African Photographer of the Year many years ago. We talked a lot in the hide, let's put it that way. He was very young and had a very controversial image at the time. It was a bumblebee. Africa's always like cat, you know, leopard, cheetah. And he's, so I'm excited to have him aboard, because he also won the Winland Smith Rice Summer that you're exhibited in the Smithsonian, which is your neck of the woods. And he had a flamingo image there.
Oh, fantastic. Wow. That is so awesome. You have judges just coming with all kinds of experience and wisdom. So Ranjan, the other 2.
I'm going to start with a gentleman in Spain, in Barcelona. His name is Julio Hardy, and he owns a few contests himself. He owns the World Photo Gala Association. But more than that, he owns a gallery there called Gallery Photo Nostrum, which is the largest gallery in Europe, which specializes in photography, and which he runs a magazine alongside with that. He has shot for a couple of Hollywood films before, so he's a known photographer in that part of the world. But because of his, I would say, his experience with this photo contests, he has been judging, he has been curating images. So we got him on board, and he has kindly agreed to even exhibit some of our our winners in Barcelona in his gallery at the next Biennale. So he's one. And then, of course, we have the famous John Isaac, who has he's the photojournalist. He was the head at the United Nations for a long time. He's photographed wars. He's photographed heads of states, Michael Jackson, Audrey Hepburn, and he's also very well known in the world of conservation now. And he's been photographing tigers. He's been photographing, uh, I would say, Africa for ages. In fact, he even photographed the freedom of Namibia when they raised the flag for the first time, and then he did a safari there after that. So yeah, I'm very proud to say he's my guru. He's my teacher. I'm very close to him, and yeah, we're very glad to have him on board.
Yeah. Can I say something quickly about? So every issue, as we come out with a new issue, there's always a couple of photos I can't stop looking at. I'm truly an addict to looking at beautiful wildlife photos. And he has this tiger image. That was we published a cat issue. That's the one that has Ranjan's lion on the front. I could not stop. I'd get up in the morning. I'd have to run to my computer and look at this image. It's a tiger in the water looking up at you. And I believe it was shot with film. Is that right, Ranjan?
Yes, that was shot with film.
Really?
There is just something about the photo. And that to me is where you can spend a lifetime doing this, is honing your skill to get that love of an animal and to pull that moment. I'm getting the chills right now thinking about it, pulling that moment from an animal. You know, they're so honest and pure, and they give us so much about, they're just very real.
Right.
I remember this photo. So, you know, it's been such a privilege, like so many photos we've gotten. And I feel so honored to be able to accept these photos, you know, for the magazine. And I just only see it going further and further. And then when we publish these winners, already I can't tell you about. I'll give one little teaser.
Okay.
Don't know if it's going to win. There's a photo of someone underneath a mama bear and her two cubs swimming underneath. I mean, Ranjan and I.
Wow.
Oh
we
my
looked at that and we said, "Whoa,
is this real? Was this
That is just stunning."
Yeah. So don't know. You know.
you don't know who the photographer is."
Yeah.
I don't know who the photographer is, but I just saw the image and I said, well, you never know. You're going to talk about it.
Right. And this is also, are these also going to be featured in your the Wild Lens magazine?
Oh,
yes, all the winners. And then I'm so inspired by every entry. I want to find a way to publish everybody's. It might be on our website. I haven't determined. It just depends on how many we get. But I know how that feels to enter a contest. And I've entered BBC. That's the big one in the world. Yeah, a number of times. And I have to say, when you go see the exhibit, it's amazingly beautiful. But you know what? I want to acknowledge every single person who's taken the time to enter, who's taken the time to get the photos. And you know, one thing I'm seeing, Summer, is a lot of people are doing macro work like in their backyard with spiders and insects and trying to do what they can to keep the craft going.
Right.
One thing I've seen. And there's no right or wrong answer. I mean, some people have more money to travel the world and do this stuff. And I always respect someone who can do it in the way that they can do it and afford to do it. And whether that's, you know, in their backyard, in the woods, in their community, you know, there's so many different ways to do it.
Absolutely.
Actually, I'm glad you touched on that, Michelle, because it's good to let them know that the wildlife photographer of the year need not be somebody who's got a lion or a leopard or a bear. It could be an ant or it could be a reptile in your backyard.
Right.
It has to be something that catches your imagination.
Right.
So so one shouldn't think that I'm not going to enter because it's just an ant or a spider or something. They should. Creativity is what's important.
Right.
And that's very true. We've already gotten some macro work that is like, wow. So that is one of our categories. So we just encourage anything someone wants to enter. There's no right or wrong answer. It's your vision. It's your craft. And, you know, it's such a privilege to take these images in and the fact that we're going to do something. And then the exhibit, which will be early next year, at this space. I mean, it's just gorgeous with
Yeah.
high ceilings, and it'll be really amazing too. And hopefully, and maybe somewhere we can work on this is maybe a live exhibit or something we can get out there.
Yes.
Who knows about travel at that time?
Who knows?
Right. Right. Well, I think, the exhibit itself is going to be amazing. The building, the old Wrigley's building, owned by William Au, is phenomenal. It is a gorgeous space. It's a large space. He does so much to really lift up community and expose community in relation to photography, art, and so many other ways. It's gorgeous there. So to have photography there, pictures there, is just, the way that they will be, laid out is phenomenal. And I saw your layout and how you curated that. So it was beautiful, Michelle. And I'm so glad I had the opportunity to go back home and visit the building and share that experience with both you and William. So thank you. Thank you for meeting me there.
And we're talking about, Ranjan and I are kind of discussing that we may also install the exhibit in Barcelona, Julio's gallery. So that might be easier for some of our European-based photographers. We'd like to just get it out to as many people as we can. So stay tuned for those details. But luckily, Bay Photo has graciously agreed to print these photos, and we'll install them. And then also the winners will eventually get to take their photo home. And, in some countries, that's not so easy. I mean, I'm so glad that they'll have the opportunity to print, have it, have their image immortalized. So we're really excited about that. I'm so grateful to Bay Photo doing that for us.
Absolutely. The people that are sponsoring this, the people that are supporting this that's amazing. And I grew up where you grew up in Santa Cruz. So I always thought, Bay Photo, we always saw it there, right? And the little photo drive-throughs and so forth and so on. So to have something in print is so important. We forget because we're always digitized, right? But yet print is so important. And here's the thing too, when you're talking about macro photography and doing something in a backyard, doing something around your own home potentially, or where you live, you're still bringing awareness. This is still your creativity. This is still something that you're honing. I've seen friends develop a love for photography in the last year just by taking pictures of, like you said, those bumblebees, and that's raising awareness about bees, or of, geckos or frogs or whatever the case may be, or flowers, beautiful flowers. And it's like, hey, put your creativity out there. Have the courage. Don't stop or think, I can't do this because this isn't perfect yet, or this isn't the exact time. Just get out there, do it. And I think that's what you both did too, did you kind of feel some angst when you started, photography, or did you just jump right into it?
Go ahead. I'll let you.
I just jumped right into it. And in fact, while you were talking earlier, I just wanted to say something. And I said, for people who are actually seeing the show today,
yes,
just remember one thing: the minute you take a photograph, and you say, for example, if you enter a contest, you're already a winner. And the very fact that you put in an image and in your mind, you're a winner. Just keep that in mind when you take an image.
That is beautifully said.
I'm a winner. Yes. That's why I'm entering. And you never know, because it's not only the winners. We may like something which is not a winning image, but we may still publish you.
Yeah.
We may still want a story out of that.
Yeah.
Maybe something which is very different, something new. It could be a different species. So each and every entry in my eyes is a winner already.
So true. The time and effort. And it's funny, sometimes you'll look back on your early work, as I'm sure we both done, you go, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? But one thing I say, I just had an experience. So one of the things I got to do this year was there was the comment Neowise was coming through, and it was such a beautiful comment. I actually found out from my dad. I didn't even know. So thanks, Dad. So I decided I really wanted to chase this comment. So I went to 3 states in 4 days and ended up in California. And I'll tell you guys, my favorite spot I photographed was Joshua Tree National Park. And my favorite photo was the very last one, last night, So, and I was running on fumes at that time. But I guess 2 photographers, hard work trumps everything. A little bit of luck is always good,
Right.
Oh, of course.
in the field, I mean, most years, Ranjan, you're in the field like 6 months. Do I have that
Wow.
6
correctly?
to 8 months a year, Michelle, and as we say, coronavirus has tied us down, but it does have the positive that
Yes.
I finally managed to look at some of the images I shot in 2007, which were in my hard drives, and I have come out with images which I didn't know I had. But
Wow.
yeah, so
Fun.
yeah,
That's fun.
I'm out about 6 to 8 months in a year.
Surprise.
So that is an amazing journey. I'm so glad we're here talking about this contest, that you spoke on the judges, about the judges. Phenomenal. Absolutely. The experience that comes into this contest is amazing. All that you've put together here is really outstanding. So, folks out there, if you're listening today, be a part of this. Be a part of this movement. Be a part of this contest. Get started. Do your photography. Submit to a contest. Let me ask you, Michelle, you did touch on this earlier. You said that this contest is just a tad bit different than others. Talk about, maybe you can touch on that.
Well, I think, one thing I hear out there, Summer, I mean, I have a lot of photographer friends
Yes.
by now, and they find a lot of unfairness or bias in contests. I don't want to say any of the names of the contests, but there can be a real sort of bad feeling about contests. And we just really wanted this to be, number one, the $10 to enter. I can tell you some of the bigger contests are 30 an image. So then it starts to add up, and we just wanted something. And I want to say, with due respect, I know $10 US in some countries is actually a lot.
Yes.
So even if you can just enter one image, we're so appreciative. Because I've had that feedback. It just depends on where the currency's at. So
Right.
one image, we're so grateful that someone saved up to do that. But we wanted it to be affordable, and this is really for photographers. This is about them, and I'm going to find some way to get every image out there somehow, whether it's on the website or through the magazine, through a couple of issues. I really want to get all of those images out there that people can see. So that was kind of where we were at, is we just wanted and I have to say, Ranjan came to me with this idea. I was publishing the magazine along with my incredible graphic artist, Kai Bowman, who's forever helps me keep this thing gorgeous. And Ranjan and I just started talking, and he came to me with this great idea of the contest. So I have to say, it was initially Ranjan's great idea. So I thank Ranjan for that, for bringing it to us.
Awesome. That is so fabulous. So as we kind of come to a close here, we're going to kind of wind down here. I want you to go back, if you could, and kind of tell or give the viewers right now some words of wisdom. Some words of wisdom, not just about photography, maybe about getting started, maybe not about not being fearful, maybe about, being creative. What would be your words of wisdom today for our viewers?
Ranjan, should I let you start?
Okay, I would say, as I did, just pick up your camera and go out. Don't be shy. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. If you're a beginner, if you're learning, yes, ask around, but remember that you're the artist. I see a lot of instructors when I go in the field, because I also hold my own workshops. But I start by telling everybody that this is what I like to do, but you are your own artist. You need to design your own images. Don't do what I'm doing. Don't do what the next person is doing. You need to be different. So just be different from others. Go with an open mind. Immerse yourself in the atmosphere. Immerse yourself in nature, or if you're doing street photography, in the streets, and you'll come out on top.
I love that. Thank you for those words of wisdom, Ranjan. Michelle?
Thank you.
And that's very true, Ranjan. Ranjan's been doing some street photography lately, and it's been really fun to see it. So thank you for that. Even that inspires me as much as a cheetah. So, Summer, when I started this project, the magazine, I was at like a tough point in my life, like on a personal level.
Yes.
I had this perfect storm come together of, I had a big birthday and I had an exhibit. Luckily, I was able to put together an exhibit, which was amazing. And then I launched the magazine. And then I also took one of the trips of my lifetime, which was for Puma down in Patagonia, Chile. that just all those three things came together, and it kind of got me back where I needed to be personally.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess just telling people, don't be afraid. Just go for it. Go for your dreams, and then achieving those things can help you get back to where you want to be in life. And also for young photographers, look for someone to mentor you. Like, Ranjan was talking about John Isaac, and also, I've definitely mentored with a lot of people such as Roy Toft and Kurt and some others that help you kind of understand photography and also get you to the places you need to be. That's one thing, Summer. We need to get you to Africa. We need to get Summer to Africa.
Oh, wow.
We're going to come to Africa.
Ooh, that would be exciting.
Oh, yeah.
One of the summers, yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your words of wisdom. And the last thing I want to do is if you could please go over the contest, just outline the contest details, where they can find you, how they can join. I really want to drive this home for viewers today that you have this great opportunity. Submit. So if you tell them once again, how to join, where to find you.
So please enter. Ranjan and I strongly encourage, and we're so excited for every entry. So you can enter on thewildlensmagazine.com, just like it sounds, thewildlensmagazine.com, and then scroll down to contest, and you can enter there. And like we said, we have 6 categories. Ranjan, do you want to state the categories?
Yep, you got the mammals, you got the reptiles, you got the birds, you got underwater, macro, landscape, and did I miss anything?
You got it. I know
I got
you
it all.
Ranjan, and we came up with these, Ranjan and I together. We wanted everyone, whether you're in the backyard, doing an ant, to some fall leaves. These categories give everyone an opportunity, even if you're not able to get out there and go on tours. And also at the same website, you can subscribe. We welcome your subscription. We'd love to have, I have this thing going out to several continents. So we'd love to put this magazine in your hands and also showcase some of the amazing photographers and species out there. There'll be species that'll surprise you. You didn't even know they existed. So,
right. And again, the people that are supporting this are
you guys.
Yeah, you guys.
Yep.
And then we've got, Bay Photo Lab. We've got, the people paying for the safari. So
Sunworld Safaris, Mara Bush
Safari, Bay Photo, B&H Photo,
B&H.
Our judges.
Judges.
To the judges and and all that. Please, you can see all that on our website. So we'd love to have you there.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Ranjan, for being here on this Core Women Live with me today.
Thank you for having us, Summer.
Summer, for having us on your platform.
Absolutely. And thank you, viewers, for joining us and sharing this experience with us, and for joining me on the Core Women Live today. You can find a replay of this broadcast later on today on the Core Women YouTube page. So please like and share. And again, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ranjan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ranjan.
Good night, Ranjan. Bye. Bali.